Well,
And action.
what are you laughing at?
I'm not, I'm smiling because I'm
pardon.
sitting here with you.
Thank you.
City Lights on Location joins George Cukor at home in Beverly Hills, and the film is Rich and Famous. And I want to begin the conversation by telling you that I saw the film, enjoyed it tremendously,
I'm delighted.
and I'm here to say happy golden anniversary
Golden Arrow, to who?
to you. 50 years of motion picture making.
It seemed longer to me. Well, I'm awfully happy that I'm still around. I still can get jobs. Just.
I would think after seeing Rich and Famous that there was no problem getting a job at all.
Well, that's very sweet of you.
It's not as if
I'm-
you've stopped working at
I'm-
all.
I'm glad the picture turned out well.
I'm glad it turned out well too. I'm,
Can't you say anything more brilliant than that?
I'm building up.
Oh, pardon.
Yes, this is the warm-up.
Oh, I see.
I was particularly moved by the performances because you had said that Candice Bergen and Jacqueline Bisset would bring a beauty and glamour and romance to the screen, which indeed they did. And it's not as if we've been flooded with films that have been romantic or that have dealt with the relationships between women.
Now, how am I supposed to react to this?
I don't know. How do you think you should?
Well, I think it's so intelligent of me. Of you. No, I'm glad you. I will stop all this wisecracking. It's rather lame, but I'm glad you really liked it. And I think they're both clever girls, actresses.
I agree.
Yes.
I-
Well, may I say,
Yes.
well written. The script is well written, and that makes all the difference. You know, I've done a great many that are rather not so good, and you have to work hard. And this, in a sense, it's an old thing. It plays itself. It's naturally easy, and Gerald Ayres is a very, very gifted writer.
I agree.
Yes.
And one of the producers was William Allen,
Yes.
young man.
Yes. Young. Brilliant.
Did you say
Not as
yes?
brilliant as the writer. No, the writer, when I read the script, I was very, very impressed with it. And also, not only was I impressed with it, but as these things go, when you really know you've got a good script, is if it plays. And this thing seemed to me to play very, very easily and very nicely. And
How much time was actually spent in New York on location?
I think a week or 10 days or something.
One of the things that impresses me most about the film is the recreation of the Algonquin Hotel
Oh,
lobby.
yeah. Isn't that extraordinary?
Yes, because it feels like the Algonquin.
Yes. Yes.
Now, the Algonquin Hotel was recreated on a soundstage at MGM.
Yes, sir. And very well done. Very well done. And we used it a hell of a lot, and we played there. And then we shot, I shouldn't say all this, giving all the secrets away, and we shot the exterior on 44th Street, where this hotel is. But the Algonquin was, I think, brilliantly reproduced.
I agree.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask something about
You
Candice.
must ask me brilliant questions, and then I'll try to answer them.
Let me ask you about
Yes.
Candice Bergen. I mean, as a man who is the godfather of Mia Farrow, and you have known many of the people in the industry for a long time, childhood. Did you know Candice Bergen through Francis and Edgar Bergen?
No. I met them, I'm sure, but I really didn't know her very well. I knew she was around. I met her several times. In fact, I talked to her about several jobs, which she either turned down or she didn't play. But I think it's recently when I saw a picture where she played a comedy part, where she's so desperately funny. And then I think she's awfully funny in this. And she said that her father, who knew a great deal about everything, said that she was so moved and cried. And what is the reaction to parents? Hart Bachner, who's also, I'm sorry to say, who I'm happy to say is a Canadian. I don't know them. I don't know the parents. Well, anyway, when they got up, his mother was crying after his big comedy scene. She thought her little boy acted brilliantly, which he did. He acted very well.
I thought he did too.
Yes.
Is there a block, George, about Canadians?
No, no.
Are we going to talk about the rep company, Toronto?
Toronto, not
Uptown
rep.
Theatre?
Yeah, stock company.
Stock company, I beg your pardon.
Yes, I don't think anybody's alive who saw that. I must say that that was my first job, being a director. I think I was cheap or something, and I was fired. But then also I went there in the summer, and the ingenue in that was Frances Goldwyn, Frances McLaughlin, and she was the prettiest girl I'd ever seen. But I didn't know that, and she was a charming actress. I didn't know she was that smart. In fact, I asked Sam Goldwyn, I said, how did you know? He had a lot of girls, that she was as clever as she was, because she really is clever in every way, and a darling. And it's very sad. I was there when she was young and beautiful and healthy, and then I went to Russia, and when I came back, she was very ill. But she was a darling, intelligent, nice girl.
But just think, if you hadn't been fired from that early job, then you wouldn't have arrived in Hollywood as quickly as you did to work with Tallulah Bankhead. No,
Tallulah Bankhead I worked with at Astoria. Yeah, now you want me to tell you about Tallulah Bankhead?
Yes.
Well, she's very amusing, and also she was also always thought of as sort of an outrageous personality, but she's an awfully good actress, and is funny.
You know why I said that? Because I remember in the Gavin Lambert book on Cukor,
yes,
which was on your films and your work, that there was a photograph in this garden. One photograph, there was a shot of Vivien Leigh sitting in the garden. Another one was Tallulah Bankhead.
Yes.
And I think it because to look at this garden and remember those wonderful photographs in the Gavin Lambert book, where is the George Cukor autobiography that's being worked on for some time?
I made several, I'm not a writer, and I made several attempts at it, and it didn't turn out very well, and I don't know really. It's awfully hard to write if you're not a writer, and I am a writer, I'm not a writer, I'm going to get that right, and I really would like to have a collaborator who did all the work, and I'm hoping before I go to Valhalla that we managed to get a book on it, because I think an awful lot of very funny things happened to me, and I can tell them, and we know wonderful stories of Molnar and various people, and I'm not a writer. Most people don't know that, but I know it. But I'm not. They don't know. They won't stop at nothing.
That may be one of the reasons that you had the enduring friendships you had with people like Somerset Maugham and Edith Sitwell.
Yes, they weren't jealous of me, although yes, they were great friends.
But isn't it ironic, George, that we're talking about the fact that you are not a writer?
Yes.
But I'm aware of what people like Somerset Maugham, Edith Sitwell, and the fact that The Queen and the Hives is dedicated to George Cukor by Edith Sitwell, and one of the most important dramatic developments in Rich and Famous is the fact that Jacqueline Bisset is indeed the serious literary writer.
Yes.
Well, Candice Bergen, who maintains that because Judith Krantz is a friend of hers, she based
Probably that was an accident.
She based some of her character of Mary on Judith Krantz.
She never dared tell me that.
Maybe she didn't want you to know that she had someone in mind.
No. Anyway, she's very funny, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
She said that her father always thought she should play comedy, and she was so beautiful, she never got a chance. And I think watching Parents, Hart Bachner, who played in this picture, when his mother's father got up,
Yes.
she was crying, and he's good at it.
He's very good.
Yeah, but mother's heart.
A Mother's Love.
And Mother's Love.
Let us take a commercial break and have a look at a scene from Rich and Famous.
Good.
All right. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Say, how was that? Was that all right?
Yes.
Better put that down. Keep rolling.
All right, here we go.
Are we rolling? Yes, speed.
City Lights on Location continues after looking at that scene from Rich and Famous, a George Cukor film. I complimented you earlier in this conversation about how wonderfully realistic the set that was created at the MGM soundstage was of the Algonquin Hotel.
Yes.
And I say that because we're sitting here in your garden in Beverly
This
Hills.
is a reproduction, too.
But I remember when you were working with Marilyn Monroe at 20th Century Fox,
Yes.
and doing Something's Got to Give.
Yes.
And this entire garden and the house was recreated on a soundstage at 20th Century Fox.
Yes.
Whose idea was it that your home should be recreated on a soundstage?
I tell you why. Not that it's not beautiful, but it was an emergency. And they said, well, you know, it's so easy. We don't have to measure anything. We just reproduce it. And they did. Not only that, then I didn't do the picture for whatever reason. Poor dear Marilyn died or something. And it was I saw it used for years and years and years for other pictures. So it's famous, even though not known.
Must have been a strange sensation for those guests that you'd had at the house who went to see a movie and said, that looks like George Cukor's house.
Yes, and I gave me a sensation while I was working at the studio. I looked around, looked like my house. And I said something brilliant, which I'm not going to tell you.
You don't have to tell me as long as you promise to put it in the book.
Yes. The book.
You must put it in the book.
I hope. Thank you very much. I'm going to try. I don't think it's hard. It's more difficult to write a book than I thought.
Yes, you have to tell the truth.
Tell the truth. I always tell the truth.
Yes, but then when one puts it between covers,
yes. Oh, yes.
Living it is one thing,
yes.
Sharing it is another,
Yes,
I suppose.
It mustn't be an idiotic book, and I'm going to try not to make it that, if I can manage to do it at all.
Since I began this conversation by saying happy anniversary, in the sense of happy golden anniversary, and
You
all.
keep on rubbing that in.
What?
I was a child, and then they said, would you like to direct a picture? And I said, yes, but I was very young. You must understand that.
I know you were very young.
At least
but
I was younger than I am now.
You were also the man that they said, get George Cukor. He's worked in New York in the theater. He'll know how to teach them to speak. That
Did they say
sounded
that?
wonderful, didn't it? They said, I'm hoping it was done with a little more grammatical finesse than I just used.
I hope so. I didn't know that they said that. No, as a matter of fact, when I came out, it's as though the seas had parted, because dialogue directors and people who could, what is known as handle dialogue, were brought in, and I was one of them. And very few of them are alive, and also very few of them have as tough skin as I have, and they finally left. But you couldn't get me out of here. No, Hollywood. I liked Hollywood. The moment I saw it, I felt it was sympathetic to me. I thought, I'll have luck here, so I behaved that way, and I've had a certain amount of luck, but not all luck, I can tell you.
I was thinking you must on certain occasions, after the years of being next door neighbors, have missed the presence of Katharine Hepburn since she moved to New York.
Yeah, she was not only a neighbor, but she was my tenant at a very reduced rate. And when she left, she has a very marvelous Phyllis Wilborn, who's her secretary, and loyal as she can be. She thought we'd try to get her out a day or two early. And I teased my friend who was, I don't know what the hell happened, but she's forgiven us. She's full of forgiveness, Kate is.
I would like to tell you, because this is of personal importance to me, to be able to...
Is this about me or you?
No, this is about you.
Oh, pardon me.
Because December the 5th, 1972,
Yes.
you were in the city of Toronto with your film Travels with My Aunt. We did a television interview together.
Yes.
And you made me important because you agreed to do the interview. And it's wonderful to be sitting here with you again.
Yeah. Lovely. I'm delighted.
I should have known better than to try to give you a compliment.
No, I'm thrilled. No, I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased. And now you're apparently, you're there's Mr. Trudeau. And then you were...
Different department.
Different department.
Yes,
Just
different
big shots,
department.
yes.
But I would gather we're both in show business.
Yeah.
I thank you for this conversation, and thank you for Rich and Famous.
I'm delighted that you liked it. That's the only thing I'm sincere about.
I accept the sincerity of that. We will take another commercial break.
Yes.
Thank you. City Lights on Location will return with more on Rich and Famous with Hart Bachner, Candice Bergen, and Jacqueline Bisset right after this.
Why bother with Hart Bachner?
That was lovely.
When I tried to say thank you.
Oh, is that it?
Okay, Brian, you'll be listening if you have Mr. Crinkle talking to you.
I am listening.
Yeah.
When do you leave for San Francisco and the San Francisco Film Festival?
In about a week, I think. I'm really vague about things. You go here, you go there, and I'm not sure where I'm going. But this I will say, that I am going to give some lectures. We want some music played at Harvard. And what I'm going to lecture about, I'm vague.
Law. Law.
Law.
My law degree.
Yes, I hope. Anyway, they're not photographing. They're photographing it, but they're not recording it. I hope not, because it'll be the end of your career. I was at the beginning and almost at the beginning.
Full circle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be pathetic?
Okay, why to...
Let me come over there.
Thank you.
Get one from over there. Second angle.
Thank you.
Now, what do we do in this angle? Just talk?
Yes.
Just making believe we're talking?
Yes.
Yes.
Like a movie.
Just like a movie, yes. Wow.
They told me Jacqueline Bisset had gone off on a college campus tour promoting the film with university people,
Oh, how nice.
which I think is a good idea.
Very good idea.
Mm-hmm. All those young aspiring authors out there
Yes.
meeting her. She looks wonderful in the
She looks-
film.
Yes, she looks lovely.
She looks wonderful.
Doesn't Candice look lovely, too?
Yes.
And they're both awfully good, aren't they?
Yes. Both of them. And Hart Bachner.
Oh, Hart Bachner. Oh, we just